So hey friends, if you've been with us, we've been going through the story about Jesus being born, and the story is not done yet. We continue our story with a story called The King of All Kings, and it's from Matthew chapter 2. Let's see what happens next. Far away in the east, 3 clever men saw the very same star, the star that God had put in the sky when Jesus was born. They knew it was a sign. A baby king had been born. They had been waiting for this star, and they knew it would come. "He's here," they shouted. "He's here." And I'm sure if you'd been there, you would have heard them laughing and dancing and singing until the sun came up. At dawn, they packed up their camels and wrapped gifts for the baby. They brought their most precious treasures of all, frankincense, gold, and myrrh. Special, sparkly, lovely smelling, gleaming things just right for a king. There's the wise men. And they see a star, and they are getting so excited. Let's see what happens next. So the 3 wise men, actually, if you met them, you'd have thought they were kings because they were so rich and clever and important looking. They set off. They rode their camels across endless deserts, up steep, steep mountains, into deep, deep valleys, through raging rivers, over grassy plains, night and day and night, for hours that turned into days, that turned into weeks, that turned into months and months, until at last they reached, look at their journey. They were going through all of this different terrain and mountains and woods and rivers, and what is going to happen? Where did they reach? They reached Jerusalem. Jerusalem was by far the most important city for miles around, and as anyone can tell you, that's where a palace would be, and kings were born in palaces, so that's where they went. But they were in for a surprise. They went to see King Herod. Surely he'd know where the baby was, but he didn't. In fact, he didn't like the sound of a new king. It made him cross. He didn't want anyone to be the king except him. But Herod's advisors told the 3 wise men that it was what was written in their books. What God had said about the baby king. Go to Bethlehem. That's where you'll find him. So suddenly the star they'd seen in the east started moving again, showing them the way. So the 3 wise men followed the star out of the big city, along the road, and into the little town of Bethlehem. They followed the star through the streets of Bethlehem, out of the nice part of town, through the not so nice part of town, and to the really not nice at all part of town, down a little dirt track until it stopped right over a little home. But wait, it wasn't a palace. There wasn't any guards or servants or flags or red carpets or trumpets or anything. Did they get it wrong, or was this what God meant? See, they're going away from the palace, and they go down this road to this little house. This doesn't make any sense to them. What is going to happen? Sure enough, in the little house, there, sitting on his mother's knee, they found him, the baby king. The 3 men knelt before their little king. They took off their rich royal turbans and gleaming golden crowns. They bowed their noble heads to the ground and gave him their sparkling treasures. The journey that had begun so many centuries before had led 3 wise men here, to a little town, to a little house, to a little child, to the king God had promised David all those years before. But this child was a new kind of king. Though he was the Prince of Heaven, he had become poor. Though he was the mighty God, he had become a helpless baby. This king hadn't come to be the boss, he'd come to be a servant. So there's the kings, and they've come to bow down to this child. And what will happen next? Well, you'll have to find out tomorrow. So join us again. We'll see you. Bye-bye.